Limited run. Now here's something that you have probably never heard on the internet before. Limited Run is a company that gets gamers like me so worked up, so hot and bothered because Limited Run does a wonderful job. If you didn't know, Limited Run is a small company based out of North Carolina. I want to say North Carolina. One of the Carolinas. And they actually put out physical media copies of games that would otherwise be released only through digital. And this is important for someone like me. Me personally, I like to have something physical. I like to have something tangible. Something I can grab and put inside of my game system. I have this naive little notion in my head that it takes up less space out of my PS4 or whatever console's hard drive. I don't know if that's the case. I'm living in a certain generation that doesn't understand the how modern gaming works. But either way, they come up with these nice little deluxe sets. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a limited run, so that means that they're only going to make a certain amount of copies. I think that's something that me personally, I don't really agree with. That's something that doesn't sit well with me. I feel that if the demand is there and, people want this game, well, why not make some more copies? But, hey, whatever. It's their company. They can run it however they want. Now, as you'd imagine, with the climate of how video games are going, especially when it comes to the collector's market, people are buying them up as soon as they go up online. I myself had recently tried to get a copy of Ys Origin for the PS4, and within seconds, while it was still in my shopping cart, that thing had disappeared. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've never experienced something like that on the internet before. I myself am also a huge wrestling fan, and when I try to get tickets for, if you're familiar with pro wrestling guerrilla shows, which sell out within seconds, if I'm able to get out into the checkout part of the website, typically that holds on to my ticket and I'm perfectly fine. I've never had it before where you had something inside of your shopping cart and no, somebody went bickety bam and took it out of your cart and bunked off into the sunset. So, yeah, that is definitely a problem, and from what I understand, at least Limited Run is trying their best to find something to counter this. They have done things like pre-orders recently on, I believe that was still on Ys Origin, actually. Yes, it was Ys Origin, where they did a pre-order, at least for the standard edition, which is great. I think they should do more pre-orders. They should gauge and test the waters and see how many people are interested in their product, and go from there. But at the end of the day, again, they are called limited runs, so the whole idea behind limited run is to make a very small press order of whatever it is they are selling. So, yeah, I don't know. It's conflicting. I mean, I'm not running this company. It's not up to me. Again, if it were up to me, I think they should print more copies. I don't see why not. That's like saying, hey, here's some money that you could possibly have, but they don't want it because their ethos is making a limited run. But whatever. Again, you got to understand that this is only a company of a handful of people, and it's not like some huge, warehouse of 400, 500 people. They can only make only so much. I myself, as a musician, have had my CD pressed, and I understand that it's just not feasible to make thousands and thousands and thousands of copies when, a lot of them will probably just end up as extra stock lying around the house. But then again, I don't know, because again, with the collector's market, people are buying these copies up. Limited Run has not had some things that haven't sold out. I mean, as far as I know, I think the only thing you could get on their website right now is just a couple of soundtracks that are readily available. So, yeah, I didn't want to make this a video where I'm just sitting here ranting and talking about the nature of the collector's market. Again, I think it's a very big problem. The point I wanted to get across is that I want these games to get into the hands of gamers. That is not the case. These games are getting in the hands of scalpers, these people who buy up these games for $40 and then, you know, they're not even going to play these games. They're just going to sell it online, flip it online for 100 plus. So that's a big problem. That's a whole nother discussion. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to talk about a couple limited run games that I was successfully able to get, as well as just showing what they're like, and you know, just making a little plug for this company that I dig. To give you some history of myself with the company, I just first found out about them when I saw this advertisement that they were going to put out a Skullgirls physical release of that game, Skullgirls, the fighting game, and that physical release still has not come out, but you know, they released a statement that they were testing it for bugs and making sure that it was perfect when it's ready to go. And I've actually picked up so many other limited run games in between that time, some directly through the website, some not directly through the website. But yeah, let's go take a look at some limited run games. First off, over here we have Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Shantae is one of those retro-style platform games that has gone into popularity recently in the past couple of years because of games like Pirate's Curse. And this is the one that I keep hearing is one of the best in the series. I have not actually played Risky's Revenge, or the very first one. This is actually the first one I played, Pirate's Curse. And, of course, Xseed Games recently put out Half Genie Hero, and that one's great too. This one, a lot of fun, especially for these people who are saying they absolutely miss the Metrovania style of game with the absence of Koga Igarashi in Konami. So if you miss those type of games, please, 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 I highly recommend Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. I don't think that you actually need this physical copy unless you're a nut job like me. So, as you can see, you have the disc. And I want to make something perfectly clear that yes, I actually play these games. These don't just sit in my shelf. This is one that I've thoroughly enjoyed. You have a nice little postcard. And this isn't so much a manual, but it is a little booklet thing that comes inside. I guess it's more of a pamphlet that tells you all the wonderful health warnings that you should consider before you play a game. We have Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap. Now, I am a big fan of Dragon's Curse. Okay, that was the version of this game that came out on the TurboGrafx 16. I actually did not play Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap until after I played Dragon's Curse. And, you know, they're similar enough. Just the presentation is slightly a little bit better, in my opinion, for Dragon's Curse on the TurboGrafx. And this one is kind of a proto Metrovania style game. There's a little bit of exploration that goes on in this game. There's a little bit of RPG elements, not too heavy. But this one's a lot of fun. I fell in love with the look of this game when .mu and Lizard Cube put out this one with the enhanced graphics as well as the enhanced music. So I had to get this one. I had to get this one to the point that I bought the bundle. And if you don't know what the bundle is, I'll explain that in a bit. It actually came with another game that I'm going to be talking about in a bit, and that's the one game out of all these limited run games that I actually have not played. I know, shame on me, you're supposed to play your games, but there's one limited run game that I have not played, and we'll talk about the one to get there. Up next, we have Ys Origin. I think the thing is, a lot of resellers bought these Ys games, and they were hoping that it was going to sell like hotcakes, and that, you know, it's a very well-known series. But you gotta understand that this is still, even though they just came out with 8, it's still a very niche series. It's not something that is a household name. It's not something that sells like hotcakes. So actually, if you wanted to go get this one off of something, you know, not that I encourage that you get it off of eBay, but I'm just saying if you really want one, they're not going for that much. I don't think the demand for this game is as high as they thought it was going to be. This is why I'm a sucker. All right, this is why I'm a sucker. Typically, when I buy these limited editions, this is what I want. I want these art books. All right, and this one is more like an art pamphlet. It's nowhere near as nice as other art books that I've seen. Again, NIS recently put out Ys 8, The Lacrimosa of Donna, and the art book in there is stellar. This one, you know, it's more like a pamphlet, an art pamphlet, but, you know, the art's still really cool. You get some cool stuff in here. Definitely worth it if it's worth it to you. Again, that's what I got to say about these limited editions. It's worth it if it's worth it to you. If it's something that you know that you're a huge fan of then yeah, of course you're going to do something silly like spend a bunch of money on something that you personally enjoy. But again, stop treating limited editions like these huge investments that you're going to go make a big return on, because you're simply not, okay? These go down in value. They really do. They go down in value and take up a lot of space. Over here, we have Darius Burst, Chronicle Saviors. All right, I'm running out of space here. I'm going to start looking like Tim the Toolman's neighbor. So over here, we have Darius Burst, Chronicle Saviors. Saviors, not Chronicle Savers. That would make it a candy of sorts. And, oops, I actually left the game in the other room. But that's fine. A wonderful shooter series. You know, these recent shooter games are getting a little bit more bullet helly, which I dig. I got to be in the mood for that sort of thing. But yeah, you fight against a lot of space fish. What's not to love? Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. All right, so we have Lawbreakers, the collector's edition, and I was briefly hinting at this earlier. This was the one that I had no intentions of buying. I really wanted Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap, and Lawbreakers just happened to come bundled with it. It got to a point where I was not able to get Wonder Boy by itself, and it was either get Wonder Boy with Lawbreakers or don't get Wonder Boy at all. And I decided, hey, what the heck, I'll go buy Lawbreakers too. So I did, and you know, I still spent far less money on buying these two than I did if I had bought this one just off of some reseller. So I'm still happy at the end of the day. Lawbreakers, from what I understand, is a shooter game, first-person shooter game, which is my least favorite genre. But you know what? I figured if I had this, I tried to sell this. No one seemed interested. It's okay. I think I'm going to give it a shot. I know it's done by Cliffy B, the guy behind the Gears of War games, which again, that's more my brother's thing. It's not really mine. But, you know, if I've got it, why not give it a shot? So, yeah, that's Lawbreakers. Maybe at some point I'll stream or play this, and we'll see what this game's like. I heard the community is dead. Alright, so that concludes our limited run games episode. Again, if you like what you see, please go on and check them out. Please support this company. Again, it's only a handful of people. I'm sure they're making gangbusters with every single release because they're selling out. But again, if you like what you see, if you're a supporter of preservation of video games and physical media, then yes, please check them out. I understand it's kind of a bum deal with all the resellers, but you know, it is what it is. I truly hope that these games get into the hands of gamers. If not, you don't really need the physical release. I mean, we're more of a digital age. Most people are going that route anyways. So, it's up to you. Please check them out if you see fit. Me personally, the next game that I'm looking forward to is when they eventually put out that physical release of Windjammers, that wonderful SNK game from way back when. I can't wait for that one. Other than that, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.